Welcome to another bi-weekly AMA from Steam Exchange. My name's Gary. I'm CEO of Steam Exchange, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a pass over to Neville, our co-founder and VP. Sorry, Vice President. President. Oh,
There you go. Third time's a charm. Thanks, Gary.
sorry, man. It's trying to click every button on the screen here for you.
Right on. Welcome everyone to the AMA. This is an exciting one. We're going to be demoing our Launchpad Innovation Lab. So with that, I will pass it off to Chris to get started.
Thank you, my good man. So good day, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Chris Beckford. I am the acting VP and head of infrastructure here at Steam Exchange. Happy AMA Day, as always. So we're truly excited for this particular demo to discuss yet another one of our products from our stage 3 and beyond roadmaps, which we kind of pull forward in our overall development journey. So with that being said, as you're seeing on the screen, welcome to the first of many iterations of our Launchpad and Innovation Lab. Now, starting on this particular homepage, from here, the message is very clear, right? Your safe space in the crypto ecosphere, right? We continue to put your security in mind, and hence the reason, the statement here. And we'll definitely go into some details as to what mechanisms we have put in place to ensure that this is the safest experience for you as our trusted investors. As always, we strongly encourage every investor to do your own research and technical due diligence prior to conducting any business on our platforms, as this or any of our other platforms is not financial advice. So looking at this first feature here, you'll see this quick slider. What this kind of is a feature slider, which we will have the featured projects up here. And these are active projects. These are projects that are basically actively live and filling. Some of the things you'll notice here, if I hover over and hopefully it stops here, you'll see like the total allocation, which is filled. So the total amount that's raised, the remaining duration of this particular pre-sale that's kind of ongoing. And also you'll see the status eventually here. There'll be a status as well too. And we have a couple of statuses, whether it's private, public, and qualified. Eventually, once I get to that junction, I'll kind of go through and explain those different types of access types or launch types that follow with those platforms. Scrolling down, what you are going to see is a kind of three-pronged approach. So for any projects which are launching on our platform, whether you're going through the Launchpad channel or the Innovation Lab channel. And again, I will explain kind of the difference between those two different streams. But essentially, both swim lanes have to support these 1, 2, and 3 steps, right? First and foremost, again, any project that is coming on to our Launchpad or Innovation Lab must go through a KYC. So your standard KYC, if any of you guys have been through centralized exchange, you have to provide your information such as address, your name, and also supporting documents. Like sometimes it's a passport or a driver's license or ID to support that. The second phase of this is actually filling out an application. Inside this application is where you'll kind of provide details around your project, kind of, what your project entails, what you're bringing to the table, from a funding perspective, etc. And again, I'll go into more details once you get to that portion. And step 3 is submitting documentation. Now, we've provided some examples of some documents that could be provided, but it also depends on what stream you're in. So, if it's a standard Launchpad, it might just be your white paper, website, socials, such as that, right? So there are documents and stuff that will go along with that. So this just highlights the 1, 2, 3 approach for the Launchpad and Innovation Lab. Okay. Scrolling down, the next thing you will notice on the screen are our upcoming vetted projects, right? So these are projects that would have already gone through the 3-step approach to get onto the Launchpad or Innovation Lab. And then what you're going to be seeing here are those projects that have already been vetted and gone through the ringer. And you'll see, high level information in terms of, the minimum and maximum buy-ins, their targets for filling the pipelines, and again, the access type, whether they're going to be public, private, or qualified. Scrolling down one more time, you will see here the previously launched projects. So these are projects which have already launched, but you might still be interested, right? There's sometimes a lot of great projects out there that have launched. You might have missed the private and the public, and now they're live out there, but you can still kind of access them. So this is the particular area where you kind of get a quick glimpse, right? Everything here on this homepage is just kind of geared towards giving you guys quick snapshots, and anything that you click on would eventually bring you to the project details of that particular project. I will not go into there yet, but once I get to that point, you'll get to better understand a little bit more about that. All right, we scroll down a little bit more, and this is just a quick and easy way. If you like what you see and you understand kind of what our Launchpad and the Innovation Lab brings to the table, you can kind of hop right into the apply now. There's 10 different ways to get to this apply now, and we've kind of put this on every page just to make it a little bit more easier to kind of get to that main area. And one thing that I do want to kind of bring you to, and we'll definitely have terms and conditions and other supporting areas kind of support, going back to what I just said, but it's really important, right? And we have this disclaimer here, though Steam Exchange Inc. vets every project on our Launchpad and Innovation Lab, we strongly recommend conducting your own research and exert risk at your own discretion, as we will never offer financial advice. And I just want to make sure that that's very clear here for everyone here watching today. Okay, so we'll go over here to the projects, right? Let's go over to the projects page here. So essentially on the projects page, this is, where, you as an investor will probably spend most of your time looking into projects, right? And again, there's different views of projects. Quickly, we have our open projects, upcoming and past, right? Open, I think it's self-explanatory, right? So these again are those open projects that are actively filling, and they'll give you this page here. You'll get a quick snapshot of the allocation that's filled already, the remaining duration, and also too you'll see the launch type, which I will kind of explain here shortly. Upcoming, again, those projects that have been vetted but they have not launched yet, and we'll show you when they're launching, how much they're trying to raise, and again the progress. And past, again, self-explanatory. These are projects that have already previously launched and they're filled, but again, you might want to still want to get into these projects, and this is a good way to learn information about the projects and get into it accordingly. So let's stop here and talk a little bit about the launch types, right? So there'll be 3 launch types, and when the projects are setting up, they'll have the ability to kind of toggle between their different phases. So, we'll start with the private phase, right? Typically with some of these other projects, they might open, their private sale to their community first. So they will allow their community to be the first ones exclusively to get into the private sale, right? And, fill that particular allocation with the private sale. Right. And then once that allocation has been met, then they would shift gears over to the public, right? Open up to the public, whereby anybody who might not be in tune with the community, but interested in the project, they can come in and participate in their pre-sale. And the last type we have here is qualified. Now, this is something very unique that you don't really see. So what qualified investors means is, as you're all aware, one of our strong suits will be our education, right? Our education and our education portal is very dear to us. And with that being said, anyone who goes through our program will have that kind of accredited stamp of approval from Steam Exchange to say, you've gone the extra mile, you've taken the courses, you understand what you're investing in, you understand how these investments work, and you've done the appropriate due diligence to kind of get that level of knowledge to make better and wiser decisions. So, that comes along with a stamp of approval saying that you're kind of a qualified investor. So if any projects want to, they're interested in, they want people to come in that have a strong sense of crypto and understanding, they can push these to qualified investors, and our qualified investors who leverage our platform can come in and see these projects and be able to get into some of these pre-sales as qualified investors. So that's a really, really neat mechanism here. And Neville will eventually touch more on some of the benefits from that perspective. All right. So like I said, there's 10 different ways to get in. From the homepage, I could have clicked on one of these projects and kind of brought you to the project details, but we'll go into that in a little bit here. What I did want to show you is quickly, there's going to be multiple views, right? So this is the list view. You might not like this here. You might want to see a grid view. So you'll see more of a grid view that's built out into multiple squares. So you'll see them like this here, multiple squares of these grid view. And if you're not crazy about this here, which I particularly like, I don't know, for some reason, I love looking at calendars, but we have a calendar view, right? A calendar view, it's pretty cool, and you'll be able to see all the different projects on when they launch. And if you want to find out more information, you kind of hover your cursor over the logo. And again, you have that high level information in terms of what the project entails. And if you want to learn more about the project, then you simply click into it, and it will bring you into that project accordingly. So a couple of different ways to do business here, which is pretty cool, whatever suits your needs, right? So what I'll do now is go ahead and open up one of the actual projects here, and we'll bring you into the project details. So again, don't want to sound like a broken record, but up front, exactly what we've talked about already, kind of showing you the progress in terms of how much has been raised, when the sale ends, how much people have participated, and access to socials. We'll touch base on that in a little bit. So this detailed project view is kind of where projects that are coming into the blockchain and launching our Launchpad Innovation Lab is their selling point, right? We really want to cater to that one-stop shop, right? Though, yes, at some junction, you will want to go to their Twitter, you will want to go to the socials, you will want to kind of do it for more information. As a project come into our platform, this is where you want all of the details set up around, right? So in terms of, the appropriate details around the minimum, maximum, the price of the token, the access type, obviously this information, the token name, the symbol, decimals, the address given, and the total supply. Not only is this information important, but the information below is probably even more critical, because this is where the meat of the information is going to be, again, for you to better understand what that project entails, right? What is this project about? What are they bringing to the table, right? So some of the stuff here, and it's not limited to, because we're definitely still building this out, is the project summary. What is that project all about? What are they bringing to the table? What are they trying to achieve? Their schedule, right? The tokenomics, the roadmap, and the project team, right? These are, I think, probably the most important information when investing in the projects where people look at, especially around project team, because these days, as a lot of you guys know, like you're investing in the team. Once you have that full faith and trust in who you're investing in, you understand who's behind the investment, it makes it a lot easier to make those choices. So these are key information, and mind you, this is mandatory information that when projects come to our blockchain and they want to launch on either our Launchpad or Innovation Lab, that they must provide, right? This helps to ensure that the information is strong, and it just makes our investors' life a little bit easier in terms of making those decisions, again, with all the information up front and all the information there, right? So this is just a quick view in terms of what the tokenomics, what it's going to look like in terms of the charting, the roadmap. Don't show it here, but it will be probably something similar to this here, where they're going to be able to plug in information, and you'll see what the roadmap. And this is pretty important to add that we're looking for at least 6 months worth of a roadmap, right? Because we want to make sure that whoever's coming to the table has a strong plan that they're backing with, right? So definitely 6 months is a good chunk from an outlook perspective when making that investment. I did pass over the schedule, my apologies, but the schedule area is kind of what I explained earlier on with regards to, you're going to have your different rounds, right? You're going to have your round one, which could be private, round two, public, or even maybe even before public, they might even want to qualify it. So they could have 3 rounds, right? So there's 10 different ways you can kind of peel that orange, right? But at the end of the day, there will be multiple rounds, and this is up to the project owner to define how many rounds. Now, the allocation verification will be on us, just to make sure that the thresholds have been met accordingly and everything aligns to the forecasted numbers prior to them proceeding over to the portion where they can go ahead and claim tokens, or the users can claim tokens. All right. So that's essentially it for this page. Again, this is where, all of the meat will be in terms of the project and what you're investing in. And again, there will be some details where, yes, you have to navigate outside of this platform to get more details. But for the most part, we want you to be here and engaged, and, have as much information on the table in front of you to make your life easier to make that decision in terms of whether you want to invest in this project or not. All right, so let's go over to the Innovation Lab area. All right, so we go on to say that Steam Exchange, or Launchpad, and Innovation Lab provides accredited investors and users of our platform the opportunities that were previously only available to venture capitalists and other large-scale investors, while at the same time providing a safe space for newer innovative projects to thrive. Now, talking about Launchpad and Innovation Lab, you're obviously wondering what the difference is. So this is where I'm able to kind of explain the difference, right? So again, we're going to have two different niches, right? And both niches will follow the 1, 2, and 3 in terms of where you have to submit your KYC, submit an application, and submit your supporting documents, right? Now, where that delineation is drawn is that in terms of, you might not necessarily want to be part of the Innovation Lab, or your project might not be necessarily suited. So the Innovation Lab projects go through a higher level of scrutiny. And the reason that they do is because, we're able to kind of take them above and beyond. So not only do, we want you to launch on our platform, but these are projects where we feel that, we could definitely get behind those strong projects and really help push them even further, right? And we're still in discussions with regard to some of our models, but this could also entail like marketing and us helping to drive those projects further, right? So they're not just standard Launchpad projects, but they're ones that we would be kind of working with. You can call it maybe a collaboration, not necessarily partnership, but we're working very closely and pushing them above and beyond. Something else that we're talking about, but not exactly sure, and we're thinking about it. It's obviously still in discussion at this phase, but think about maybe potentially an Innovation Lab project who has gone through the ringer with us, and we're backing them and we're pushing them and supporting them. That could be an opportunity for them to, automatically be included on our centralized platform, right? As being one of our Innovation Lab partners, right? So that's kind of where the difference is, right? But, because our process is so rigorous in terms of how we're selecting these projects and handpicking them, it's going to be a different level of projects that are launching on these platforms, right? When we're talking about the Innovation Lab, again, provide that additional layer to support not just the most promising projects, but those projects that are said and potentially to be the marketing leaders, right? To change the way that they do business. Now, looking into the Innovation Lab in particular, we're saying that it provides an additional layer of support, not for just these promising projects, but if you look at the marketing leader advisory services, development support, influencer marketing, and investment and legal support services, as well as overall exposure to the Steam Exchange platform, right? So there's a lot of thought that has been going into this here, and it's going to be definitely a rigorous process, which will have a really strong intake process, and we're definitely looking forward to what's to come here. And I do want to touch on the eligibility bit a little bit. And again, as I mentioned, there are two different swim lanes here. So everything here that's not going to apply. I won't go through this step by step, but not everything here will apply to the Launchpad. Some of these items will apply only to Innovation Lab, depending on what stream those projects wish to go. But essentially, there will be two different streams for the criteria for eligibility. Again, one for your standard Launchpad, and also one for the actual Innovation Lab. All right. So while we're here, we will just touch base quickly on the KYC. So there's two forms of KYC, right? You can submit a KYC as a single person, and you can submit a KYC as an entire team. Now, for right now, the KYC form for the team supports up to 3 members. But what I will do for demonstration purposes is just show you quickly what the KYC personal form will look like. And again, it is subject to change, right? Based on how much information we want to collect. So you can kind of see here in terms of issuing countries here, if you click the drop down, these are some of those said countries right now that we're kind of, have those lines of sight to from a KYC perspective. So this is what you're currently seeing here. If you were to look down here, there's 3 different ID types here, which we're definitely looking to expand on, but these are the 3 most common, your national ID being your citizenship, your passport, or your driver's license. So once you do select the appropriate ID type, as normal, if you guys have gone through any of the KYC process, we're going to ask you for more information, right? Here, once you select your ID type, you're going to be required to upload, the front and the back, and a selfie, again, to support your ID, because we want to make sure that you are who you say you are, right? That's know your customer in a nutshell, right? You're going to put through the appropriate ID number and hit next. Actually, before I hit next here, this is a neat little feature, nothing groundbreaking, but, if you're taking selfies, obviously from here, it's a little bit hard. So, what you'll be able to do is scan this QR code and you'll be able to complete the application from this particular step from your phone. That way you can go ahead and take your selfie and quickly upload it. So again, another one of those features here for more ease of use, right? So once you got your images, everything uploaded, you're going to hit next. And lastly, it's going to ask you for your information. Mr. Timmy Horton here, I love Tim's, your province, your address, and once you accept the terms and conditions and privacy policy, you can go ahead and submit your KYC form. So if you guys remember, that's step 1, right? Step 1 of the process. Step 2, once your KYC has been submitted, you're going to want to go ahead and submit an application. So we can go ahead and hit apply now since it's here. All right, so pretty standard here for the most part, but your application is, obviously going to go ask for your project name, email address. Now, something that, we're talking about here is, we don't just want a standard, maybe for the Launchpad, it might be okay for just a standard email address, but if you're coming in as Innovation Lab, our expectations are, you're backed by maybe a corporate email address, right? So you can kind of see, again, the level of rigor that we're looking at. We want to make sure that people mean business and they're coming to the table properly. So, having a corporate email kind of looks a lot better, right? And it kind of shows you that the level of seriousness that a project is bringing to the table. Project description, again, this is where we want our projects to be, thoroughly laid out here. What stage of their kind of project you're in, whether you're in the planning, white paper, development, proof of concept. Are you funded? Did you fill out the KYC, which you just did? Go ahead and hit yes. And then some other project details, right? With regards to the allocation, your socials, your white paper, et cetera, et cetera. Once you do complete this application and you fill it out, then that's kind of where we get engaged from an intake perspective. And we do have our first line where intake will go through everything and kind of check, make sure everything looks accordingly, approve the KYC, approve the application. And once it goes from the approved application state, then it will come into more of the core team, right? And that's kind of where we pick up to kind of do a little bit more deep dive. And there will also be an interview phase. I'll kind of talk at a high level, but there will be an interview phase where we're going to be sitting down with those projects and interviewing them and kind of putting them through the ringer just to make sure, again, that everything aligns accordingly, and it's a strong project that our investors will be interested in, and you're just coming to the table correct, right? So once that's all said and done, then we'd go ahead and list your project and bring you into Launchpad, and then that's where the projects will have a little bit of control there as well. All right. So in a nutshell, that kind of the KYC and the application for Innovation Lab. All right. So lastly, what I did kind of want to talk about are some of the finesse. So if you guys have noticed, and I'm not sure how versed you guys all are with Launchpads and stuff, but there are some said Launchpads out there that kind of force you to connect your wallet to even see what projects are on the Launchpad, which, for some of us, it doesn't make sense why that would be the case, right? You should be able to come in and look and browse. Window shopping. I love window shopping. I mean, you go out there and you look, right? I mean, why not, right? You shouldn't have to be forced to connect your wallet to look, right? But, if you do come to that point where you see a project and you're interested in it, then for sure, the connect your wallet is here, and you're ready to connect your wallet and do business, right? With the projects here on the blockchain, right? No problem. We do also have another feature if you don't want to connect your wallet. Now, this is something that we're still in discussion with in terms of how we implemented it. All right, and there are obviously some legal stuff that we kind of need to look into further, but proof of concept again, right? In terms of risk. So, we do have an option here for sign in. The sign in feature would kind of promote that trustless aspect of it, right? Where let's say you don't want to connect your wallet. I still don't trust you guys. No problem. We're not going to force you to connect your wallet. So you can come in and just create a simple, sign in ID. So let's say if I create an ID, a sign up, and I'm signed in. So now I'm authenticated on your site, and I still want to do business, right? So you can. So you don't even need to connect your wallet, right? So what it would look like is if you have a project that you're interested in, and you go ahead and you hit contribute, right? What will happen is that you will be presented with an address where you can send funds to. You can, take your phone, you can scan the QR code, whatever it be, but that's the address where you would in turn send your Steam Exchange to. Right. So once you send your coins, your coins over there, and once they've been received, then they automatically understand that that's where the funds were coming from. That's where the funds or the allocation or the claim will be sent back. Right. So you can right away you can kind of see there's no need to plug your wallet into the site. That's that trusted aspect, right? They're gonna see that where it came from, and they're gonna know where to send the funds back over to. Right. So that's a trusted aspect. Again, that is, just a thought process. It has not been kind of solidified, as we still have some things to kind of hop through there, but just think about that one. It is a pretty big feature there. Lastly, what I want to kind of touch base on before handing over to Neville is if you don't have Steam Exchange in your wallet, no problem. You don't need to kind of go all the way over to our DEX to get more or whatever. Like right here, you can go ahead and buy more Steam Exchange from our DEX. And then once you have your funds, you can do business accordingly. All right, so I know that was a mouthful, but in a nutshell, again, this is our very first iteration, and we'll be continuing to evolve. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that little quick demo. And what I will do is hand it over to Neville to kind of walk us through some of the benefits of doing business here with our Launchpad and our Innovation Lab. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chris. So yeah, like Chris mentioned a bunch of times, right? Like we really want this to be aligned with our ethos of being a one-stop shop, right, for all of your needs. So from this perspective, from the launch perspective, in order to become a one-stop shop, you need to have as much information as possible. So when we looked at the project detail page, right, it's not just going to have like information about the project. It's also going to include a section for us as Steam Exchange, where we can now let you guys know as the community and as the investors what we looked at from a vetting perspective. They sent us an article of incorporation. They sent us registrations. They sent us, financials. So you'll see a list of all those documents and what the overall outcome of our vetting process, right? What it was at a high level. Of course, we're not going to include a giant paragraph, but at a 1,000 foot view, you will understand that this is what we looked at. This is why we vetted them. This is why we're backing them. And this won't just be for the Innovation Lab. This will also be for any project launching from the Launchpad itself. Another cool thing, like Chris mentioned, was that trustless swap. It does align with how the swap function worked that we demoed previously, where you would just send the funds in, and based on the wallet address that sent the funds, they would receive their allocation to that same wallet. Right. I don't like connecting my wallet. Chris mentioned he doesn't like connecting his wallet to just random sites, especially with what's going on in the space right now with, phishing scams and whatnot. So this opens the door to people who've been burned to still invest in projects that we vet without having to connect their wallet, right? Whether they have trust issues or it's just an overall security concern of theirs, right? So really, ideally, this is, different from other launch pads where, the first thing they want is you to connect your wallet. Even up until the allocation point and the claim point, you still don't necessarily have to connect your wallet. You can still go through the trustless aspect of it. When we designed this, or when we started thinking about this, we looked at other launch pads, right? We looked at popular ones, we looked at newer ones, and we kind of found similarities amongst them all. They all kind of look the same. They all kind of function the same. So we definitely wanted to take, what worked and what didn't work, right? This is all based on our experiences, right? We've all been in the crypto space for a long time. So we wanted to make sure that the information you get from the project details is adequate, right? So I've seen other launchpads where this is it. Whatever you're seeing on the screen right now, that's the information you get, right? You get the project, you get what the tokenomics are, you get the allocations, and you get the contribute button. We want to take it that one step further and give you that at-home feeling, right? The feeling you're used to with Steam Exchange, where it's a one-stop shop. All the information that you need is there. So just, looking at it from a, again, at the 1,000-foot view, we took the UI aspect of it. We want it to look good, right? We know that a lot of people look at some sites and they're just kind of like, it doesn't look too good. Maybe I won't connect my wallet here. So we definitely wanted you to overcome that hurdle by making it look good. And then we also want it to function well, right? So this Launchpad and Innovation Lab is a combination of a very strong UI with a very strong functionality background or backing. We did also include a couple of other features, like Chris, if you click on that share button up there. Yep. So, you can easily share the project to your socials. You can share it to the Telegram groups that you're part of. You can copy the link and other aspects, right? So it makes it easy for you to share this project with other communities, with your friends, with your family, right? So we added the ease of use functionality as well. So overall, the thought concept behind the Launchpad was to make it, of course, easy to use and have it backed by robust functionality. We won't get into all the details with the functionality yet. That will come with the blockchain full demo that we do later on, and the Launchpad scripts and the contracts that go with it. So I think that pretty much wraps that up. Chris, Gary, did you have anything else to chime into before we move on to questions?
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, guys, keep in mind, this is a bird's eye view example and demo, right? There's a lot more detail that goes through it, way out of the scope of the slot and in the sense of the time frame that we have here. There's a lot more information that we can give you guys, but this is just so you guys can have a feel for it and you see where we've picked up, where, in our opinion, other sources, other places that do something similar have lacked, and where we have improved on it, and we are improving on it based on everyone's experience, based on our own experience, and based on what we've seen others complain about. I do feel that there's a need to mention something here, Neville, that we we have slightly touched on, that I know that we have elaborated to ourselves on. Maybe circle back to one more thing here. The part where once a launch concludes, before it goes live, the whole vetting period, making sure that nothing changed, no malicious activity took place. Do you want to elaborate slightly more on that?
For sure. So when you look at that schedule that Chris showed you earlier, it showed you, round 1, round 2, and then it had allocation verification section. So in that section, it's a time frame where it gives us the opportunity to go in, double check everything, check all the wallets, make sure that there was no nefarious activity. If the project team told us, there's not going to be any team tokens, and then all of a sudden, wallets with tokens show up, we can actually go ahead and cancel the entire presale. Right? We can say, like, this failed our allocation test. This changed in your business model. So resubmit an application with your new business model so we can go through this process again. And again, that aligns with, not only our ethos, but it also protects you as investors that, behind the scenes, not everyone knows how to read smart contracts. Not everyone knows how to check wallets. They just know that this is what the project's about and they'll invest. Hopefully you do more research than that. But, from what we've seen, that's kind of the behavior of investors in the space. We definitely want to protect you, right? And make sure that the allocation is according to the business plan that they've submitted to us, that we've vetted, and they haven't deviated from it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Neville. And again, guys, at the moment, this is specific to projects that we'll be launching on the blockchain, but we could potentially down the line look into applying it to different blockchains, obviously, right? Nothing is completely out the window. It's just it's been put on the board and kind of on hold. We can take it one step at a time. So I think we're good to go into the question period. Just bear in mind, raise your hand, and be respectful of one each other. Okay. I see one hand up. Battis, go ahead. Right on. Not sure what happened there, but okay. Anyone else? Imram, go ahead. Imran, am I saying that wrong? I do apologize. Imran.
Can you hear me?
Now we can, sir.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, so I was just saying that this project's supposed to go live at the end of Q2. And so I was wondering, are we still on track for that?
So circumstances do continue to change. We do continue to do our best. We did say that at this junction in time, we are aiming for Q2. However, we did guarantee 2022. Now, I do ask that questions pertaining to what we demonstrated today here are being asked now, and then later at the end, we'll separate it and open the floor up to all the other questions.
Yo, Gary, can I come in?
Just a second. Let me make sure that Imram's good, and then we can circle back to you because you did have your hand up before.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm good. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Imram. Yes, Baddest.
Okay, nice job. I can see you guys are moving very fast. I've been holding this for a very long time, and I'm so proud what you guys have been doing. Trust me. And I want to ask now, I can see buy Steam X native coin up there. Is that function active already? Because I think Chris didn't touch that, or probably I was not available to see that. Is that function active? Then also on the Launchpad, will this project, will the investors be buying this new project with SteamX coin, like paired with SteamX coin? If I want to buy example projects now, will it be example slash SteamX?
Right. So again, this is a demo with the example project is a static project that we plugged in while we await all the other things that have to occur for this to go completely live. We can't plug in anything that's live because then it'll go live on the blockchain, right? So we have to give you a demo of it. The buy SteamX token does in fact work on the back end. I believe, Neville, you have temporarily disabled it, obviously for obvious regulatory reasons. It's because it's attached to something that hasn't been completely finished in that aspect because it ties into the blockchain, right? Otherwise, you can still go into your regular route the way everybody else has been doing. Now, yes, the idea behind it is that it's paired to SteamX naturally if you're launching it on our blockchain. Now, the beautiful part about this is that you don't actually have to spend your existing SteamX that you have in your wallet. You can simply buy additional SteamX. So you can somewhat keep it as in, like, if you had it in the sense that it was some savings account that you had, you don't have to spend that. You can just buy it as you want to participate in a project.
Okay, understood.
Right on. I think ISO, you were next. ISO, go ahead.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I'm just at work right now. I'm wondering if this will be uploaded to YouTube by the end of the night.
We will definitely do our best. I can assure you, there's always some editing to take place, and we'll definitely do our due diligence to accommodate everybody as fast as we can.
Hey, no problem. Thank you. I'll be listening.
Thank you, ISO. Rockam, go ahead. Rockham. I do apologize if I'm saying that wrong. Rockham. Okay. Mr. D. Emmanuel, go ahead.
Thank you so much for this project. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I really appreciate this project, and I'm so happy about it. I think this is one of the projects that I really took my time to go through the white papers and all that. But my concern is regarding the KYC. I really want to know if it's just for the purpose of demonstration, or there are also rooms for other countries under the KYC, because I notice there are just limited countries there.
So this is for the Launchpad, for the team that owns said project. They are required to KYC. If you're going to launch or sign up to launch or be vetted to launch anything using our Launchpad, you are required to KYC with us. You are required to upload supporting documents, supporting business plans, everything that was said here, plus more probably that we will elaborate on later. But in order for you to go through either the Launchpad or Innovation Labs, you most certainly have to be vetted. I hope that satisfies. Fred,
No, sorry, I think what I mean is the list of countries I saw under the KYC. I don't know, they are limited. Was it just for the purpose of demonstration, or other countries will be included? That's what I wanted to.
Okay, those are countries that we currently have a reach to where we can verify the KYC information. Those are countries where we will be able to, starting off the hop, accept KYC applications from for the purposes of the Launchpad. Again, due to the fact that we have reach to verify the information you're providing us from those countries is in fact true. So whoever you say you are is who you are. So starting at the beginning, these are the countries that are available for you to start from. Naturally, it will be a list that grows and grows and grows as we move along.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Fred, you are next, sir.
While you're waiting for him, I forgot a question, Gary. Can I quickly ask?
If Fred does not come through, then we'll circle back to you. I believe Fred just unmuted his mic. Fred, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Should I?
All right. Fred, I saw you unmuted your mic. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Gary. Okay, first of all, I got to congratulate you guys. You're just you blow me away, really and truly. And now that I've seen this innovation launchpad, and I was really taken back when Chris was talking about the innovation lab itself. What I was hearing from that was that there was going to be particular projects that SteamX would be available to help these particular projects. Okay. And I was wondering, with the transparency that I've seen you have been doing all the way along, okay, will we as, clients, if you will, okay, part of the community, be part of this to be able to understand or be able to follow what you're doing with these other projects?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, so definitely, right? I mean, I think that's the general thought process behind it, right? Because we're going to be behind these projects as well too. We were even talking about maybe even potentially, featuring some of these projects on our AMAs. Like if they're strong projects, we can bring them onto our AMAs, and our community would have that first access to some of these upcoming projects, right? So that's just one of the things, right? But not only that, but even marketing and additional stuff. So any way that we can kind of further bolster that project that is doing business on our blockchain, it's definitely a great opportunity for our ecosphere, and as well as them to continue to flourish.
But Gary, I'm just actually just taken back. Okay, for any newcomers here, they're just listening now. They've got to be able to read between the lines here, in that this is a remarkable uh, uh, advantage to people that are already teamed up with you, that have held on, because this is a tremendous opportunity here to. You're doing a great deal of the homework, if you will, for us investors to see who is and who isn't, passing the test, if you will, through the vetting. And as an investor, I am just so very, very pleased. I am just so taken back, and I'm hoping that others that are listening to this can also pick up the fact is that, hey, this is you guys are doing a remarkable job, okay, and still highly professional. Uh, uh, I am just so taken back, and I just enjoy the company of all your mods and everything other. And just congratulations to you and the rest of the team. Okay, so just
Thank you, Fred.
just
And
want to give
if
you
I
my.
may, Chris was just saying and answering that question for you there, and just to kind of explain what Chris said, even though he said it perfectly, but if like you're saying, read between the lines, there's two different levels of qualification. So our initial level of qualification is the higher standard than anything else that's out there. But if you go even higher, that's when as Chris just mentioned, that's when we can help you out and really showcase you and help you get to that level that you need to get to. So there's obviously projects that will pass our qualification where they can be launched on our blockchain, but there's projects that do speak more down to our core values and do take that extra step. And these are the projects where at Steam Exchange here, we will be able to help them to that next level. That's
That is absolutely remarkable.
that's what Chris was just trying to say. So, Chris, did you want to add to that and maybe perhaps elaborate on how we're going to do that?
No, I mean, I think I touched on just some of the aspects, right? We're definitely in some more detailed discussions, but like I said, I mean, just think of it as, even on the AMA example, right? I love that idea because, again, our trusted investors who have been here with us since day one or even just joined, they get that privy, that first line of sight, right? And we can do joint AMAs. Our marketing campaigns can also be, helping them to push, and getting them in contacts with the appropriate people, right, within the communities, right? So it's just overall it's great. And again, as Gary mentioned, we're taking those cream of the crop projects, right? Not to toot our horn, but at the end of the day, we put the amount of love and trust in our projects, and we just want to see that other projects do the exact same thing. They're just as transparent as we are, and they're putting themselves out there, right? And we want to continue to advocate for these kind of projects in this space for this year, especially too, because the last year was a little bit different, but this year we definitely want to make sure that we're promoting those great strong projects and putting them on the foreground for everybody to see. So.
Beautiful answer, Chris. Thank you. Fred, is that it? I'm going to open the floor for somebody else.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you, Fred. Always a pleasure talking to you. Max,
likewise.
Max, you are next. Go ahead, Max.
Hello. Congratulations again in the progress of your the progress of your project, and as an investor since day one, it's been really it's been very impressive what I see. The development of your project. From version 1 to up to now. So congratulations again. My question is the compatibility of your Launchpad. Can you elaborate on that one? Is it just a browser based, or is it something that we could download in our iOS?
So again, Neville is currently working still on implementing it into the mobile version. Nevertheless, we strive to have it accessible perfectly on all devices. You can always turn on desktop mode and access it off of your mobile version off of your mobile device or tablet or what have you as well, right? But this is online. You can certainly reach it from any platform you have, from any device you have, I should say, as long as you have an internet connection, right? Now, I think the best answer here, before, because we're short on time here, so before I move over and to Viraf, because I know Viraf has an accumulation of questions there from the chat. So before we hop onto that, I'm gonna say this, guys. What you guys are gonna see is now you guys are starting to see many demos, and this is when we told you, hold off. We're coding stuff, we're doing stuff in the background that we can't really explain or show you, and a lot of people got frustrated. And what you guys are going to see as we come closer and closer and closer towards our starting point, you're going to see all of these multiple modules, if you will, start to conclude, and then you're going to see how they start to work together and interact with each other. So at the end, you're going to be essentially, if you will, bombarded with several different modules that all mesh with each other. And this is what you're starting to see now. So when you say integrated, downloadable or not, it's not necessarily that this is for you to download. We have an app for the Exchange. We haven't yet started on an app for this. We did start thinking about an app for this, but we haven't gone that route just yet, because there's so many more steps that you have to do, right? If you want to just put your own project on it, or if you want to participate in an existing launch, right? So definitely more on that later. Definitely a great question, and I hope that answer was satisfactory to you. Stephen, Ellen, let me go ahead with Viraf, please, and then if we have time, I will circle back to you. Viraf, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Gary. So we do have a few questions from the chat. The first one goes like this: will Steamex offer a liquidity lock like Kingsale, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yep. So for sure. So what you're seeing right now, or what Chris demoed to you, is the front end of the website, right? So like we mentioned, we don't want to, the front end won't be a D app, so to speak, right? Where you have to connect your wallet and then access the site. This will be open to anyone to view. And once you connect your wallet, it connects into a D app, right? And that D app functionality will then show you the other screens that are smart contract based, right? So like liquidity lock, for example. We definitely are going to have liquidity locked in Steam Exchange. If you're launching from the Launchpad, or even more so from the Innovation Lab, because you have the opportunity to list directly onto our centralized side, all right, that liquidity can theoretically be locked forever, because it's going to stay within the Steam Exchange ecosystem. So for sure, there's going to be other functions that you didn't see today included in the actual D app of the version of the Launchpad.
Sorry, just quick. Give them one quick function, like built-in bot protection, for instance. If you want to quickly touch on that before the next question.
Yeah. So we're gonna have like all the good stuff, right? We're gonna have anti-bot, we're gonna have anti-snipe, and the anti-snipe that we're thinking about, and again, this is touching on something that's still in discussion, is not like a smart contract typical anti-snipe. It's actually going to be global on our platform, so there should be no sniping taking place whatsoever. There'll be thresholds placed on all the launches, random ones that align with our block time and other specs of our blockchain that prevent sniping. So things like that, right? So things to protect you as investors, of course, protect the integrity of the project, and just make sure their overall launch goes well.
And the best part, if we catch you sniping, you're done. You're banned for life. Viraf, next one.
Yeah, bouncing another one off. So will there be a charge associated with the launch? And yeah, are we in an interesting question also? Are we in preliminary talks with any project out there potentially?
We did have several projects approach us where we've asked them to hold on until we conclude our list of requirements for them. So they are holding on. We'll circle back to them once we have that list completed. And if they're still available, they're more than welcome to submit their application. And of course, yes, any application requires somebody spending time looking over it, checking it out. And we're not talking several hours. We're talking pouring over several days of documentation. That person will need to get paid for their due time and diligence. Obviously, there will be a charge, whether it's small, medium, or large. We haven't finalized that yet, but there will be a charge associated to any application. That in itself should tell you that if you're not serious about this, don't bother.
Perfect. Yeah, so the application is one aspect. What about a launch on or through the Launchpad as well, Gary?
Again, so that's part of the terms and conditions, and it may vary per project. So that's different per project.
Definitely, and one of the things that, of course, we're still talking about in consideration is that the differences between us and other launchpads. So other launchpads connect you to different blockchains, right? For example, this launchpad is specific to the Binance Smart Chain, but they don't run the Binance Smart Chain. They don't have any interest in the Binance Smart Chain, so they need to get paid. So they're going to charge you fees for launching from their platform. Whereas for our launchpad, it's for the it's for the Rails network, right? So the Rails network, because it's our own network, it's possible where we may not even charge a fee, right? Where we're already generating revenue through transaction fees or gas or whatever it is, right? We can skip that intake fee, so to speak. Not for the application process. Of course, the application process, that's time that someone's spending vetting the project, going through the documentation, validating it. But for the actual launching aspect of it, we were talking about possibly not having fees, but we had to weigh the pros and cons and balance the books, right? So the book has to be balanced. So we are a business after all, and we'll definitely go from there.
Thank you, Neva. I know our time is done, and I know some people need to go. So thank you for elaborating on that. But if we can touch on one more thing, Neville, let's touch on it. You know how, I'm going to give an example here. Even though we have protection, some nefarious activities, and I'm here speaking on behalf of our own experience, if some nefarious activities took place, damaged the launch. For instance, we had a hiccup where somebody added liquidity by not adding a pair, but just one, and then we had to do a workaround to work our way around it. Because in fact, the blockchain is essentially ours, right? It's our company's. We do have the ability to go in and correct it, whereas other launchpads do not. Therefore, you will not need to relaunch or do an entire launch again. That is a major benefit. Neville, did you want to touch base on that?
I think that ties into our blockchain, techs and backing. So it's up to you if you want to jump into it. We can jump into it, but we're definitely going to talk about that in the coming weeks.
Okay, so let's leave it at a high level, 1,000-foot level ceiling. There was one person that I promised that we get back to here for a question period. I don't see that hand up anymore. I do want to thank you guys for joining us here today. Please join us for our next bi-weekly AMA as well. From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. I appreciate all the love and support on behalf of the entire team.